What's up? Happy Wednesday, everybody. A little throwback for you. This Wednesday morning on SJU, or evening if you're Kim. Hi, Kim. Hi, Eric.
Hello.
We have a lovely crop of news today. A new Scream trailer dropped that I think looks very cool. Eric will tell me why I'm wrong or right about that. A Home Alone trailer that everybody seems to hate. And they cast Eyebrows Kid as Adam Warlock. I refuse to learn his actual name. All that and more, plus some actual news of strikes and that 90s show, two important things. All that and more along with your questions. So keep those coming in the chat. But we begin with today's top story. We got to look at, what is this, Scream 5, Eric? This is the
fifth movie, even though they're doing that annoying thing of not using any different title like Halloween did. So now we're going to have to put a date after it forever to understand what we're talking about.
Scream 2022, probably, right? Yeah. Look, I thought this was really cool. Not being a real horror aficionado, I do love Scream and Scream 4, and I don't really remember Scream 3, and I like Scream 2. So that's my expertise with it. I thought this looked great. What am I wrong or right? Tell me, use your horror wisdom to guide me.
No, I think you're right. So Scream is one of my favorite movies. I've seen it a ridiculous amount of times. I went to a marathon of 1 through 4 just a few weeks ago at the New Beverly. I can quote you a lot of Scream. No, I really dug this trailer. I thought it was really cool. The one complaint I saw some people saying is that it didn't lean into kind of the meta humor aspect that the series is known for, but I'm very confident it's in there, not just because Kevin Williamson is back as an EP, but the guys making it, Radio Silence, are the guys who made Ready or Not, which is another movie I loved in recent years.
Yeah.
And that had a lot of humor to it. So I'm sure this movie will have that humor, but I think this first trailer just leaned more heavily on the suspense of it all. But no, I was excited. I liked seeing. I was wondering if the original cast would be pretty small roles, or maybe one of them would be killed immediately. That doesn't seem to be the case.
No. Yeah.
I'm in, guys. I was already in.
They're the grizzled old Scooby Gang brought back for one last mystery. Kim, what's your Scream experience, and how do you feel about the trailer?
Yeah, well, no, it looks like one of the new ones is going to go first, doesn't it? Judging by that trailer. Yeah. I really love the first Scream. I'm not that into the sequels. For me, it was kind of done to death. But and there's not a lot in this trailer that draws me in. However, I do like the line from Dewey, something about this one just feels different.
That was meta, yeah.
Yeah, that was meta. That's exactly what I was going to say. So, yes, so I think it will lean into the meta. I'm sure it'll bring something fresh because all of the others do kind of find some kind of fresh approach to the satire. I'm going to watch it, but I'm not that excited about it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I'm glad they pulled a little back from the humor, because I think unless it's really like the perfect trailer line, it could just feel forced when they're dropping, winks to the fourth wall in a trailer like that. And Scream, it has to be scary first and then have some meta stuff on top of it. I think that Ghostface actually seemed pretty terrifying in this one, and I know it's become a trope at this point, but the old grizzled versions of the people from movies you loved 20 years ago is actually, it's doing it for me. It's an old trick, but it still works. I love old Dewey. I don't think Dewey's going to make it.
No.
You think Dewey's going to make it out of the first act or what?
It's not looking great for our man Dewey, unfortunately.
The Dewey Express is going to finally come to a stop, or not, because I mean, that's like, it's so self-aware about horror tropes and tipping its hand and then pulling out the rug that, that might not be the case. I guess
I do think they're gonna have to kill one of the three. Like, I was surprised when they made it through Scream 4, and I really like Scream 4, and I'm happy they made it through. But I do think this time they're not all making it out of this one.
Interesting. Or is one of the main three the new Ghostface?
Right.
Always a possibility.
Well, yeah, and the others will die probably. But I wanted to point out as well, it's the first film not directed by Wes Craven, so that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how different it is, or same.
I'm curious about having just rewatched them all. It's like, the first one, looking at satirical, suspenseful look at horror movies, and then the sequels. The third one, trilogies. The fourth one, actually, the first one was 10 years ago, already kind of tackled reboots, like within the movie. Its meta thing was like someone's trying to reboot Scream. So I am curious how did they figure out, what did they figure out, and hopefully they did figure out, what is the in on this? Like, what is, not to just have it be another Scream movie, like what are you kind of sending up here?
Right. Yeah. Well, Scream 4 was like about the I guess it's a fine line, because Scream 4 was kind of like about remaking stuff, and this could be more about rebooting something. It's a fun distinction.
The same as Halloween was, like a kind of not a direct sequel. Well, no, Halloween was a direct sequel, wasn't it, to the first one? But
it's a reboot, to the first and some of the second. I don't remember.
That kind of muddy area where we don't quite know what it is. I guess that's what it's sending up.
Yeah, to what extent it's a intentional send up, and to what extent it's like, well, people are older and they've forgotten about what we did already, so let's just take the best bits and chuck all the rest. I think that's probably the iron logic that guides Hollywood reboots these days.
I did like at the beginning though, like seeing Dewey call Sidney. Everyone was like, I'm Sidney Prescott, of course I have a gun, which is a good line, but also just the fact that when he calls her, it's kind of like, it's happening again. Like, it's been a few years. It's time for some more killings. Like, they kind of they've resigned themselves to this being part of their life. Seems to be the feeling.
Not this shit again. And I do like the just acknowledgement of landline telephones. Nobody uses them these days, and then the invention of the smart home being used against you. I know it's been explored in like other low budget horror movies, but I don't know. I thought it was a nice way to modernize it. Any predictions on the killer? Just out of the blue, multiple ghost faces, one ghost face. Which one of these kids that's up to no good?
Well, my instinct was Dewey.
Okay, yeah. I'm with you there. I'd put some money on it.
I know that the has Sidney snapped thing does come up a lot, like when they do a new one of these. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
But I am curious, because there's this whole young cast. Jack Quaid from The Boys might be one of the most recognizable, but there's a bunch of people in this movie that that are all going to be suspects. Maybe I don't know if it is one of the original three. Maybe they're teamed with one of the young people, sort of passing of the baton thing. I don't know. All the movies, one of them have had two killers. Do they mix it up and have three killers this time?
I think it's going to be the lady from the opening, because that's the last person you ever expect is Jenna Ortega. I mean that could also be a red herring in the trailer, that's not the opening, or that comes in the middle, or who knows, because that is kind of a trope at this point, right? The fake out of this is going to be the star. No, it's not.
Right. It's actually interesting too, because Jenna Ortega, while recognizable, she's done a bunch of things. She's not like quite as big a star as they usually go for in the opening death.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something what you're saying though about like how that could loop back
a more major role. Yeah. We'll see. Anyways, not too much to chew on there, because it seems like we're all in for Scream. So keep it coming in the chat if you have any pros or cons that we didn't touch on, because I want to talk about the thing that everybody seems to really hate. And look, I didn't like it, but it didn't seem like it deserved the huge pile on that it's getting currently on YouTube. And that is the Home Sweet Home Alone trailer. I heard this was coming. I said, yuck. And then I heard who was doing it, which was like the Jojo Rabbit Kid and Rob Delaney. And like, they're all funny. And then I saw the trailer and I went, but everybody else went, bleh. That seems to be the consensus, is that why would you do this? Oh my God. And I remember Home Alone 3 and I believe 4 with Scarlett Johansson in it.
There's a fifth one that was made for TV. I just looked this up about 10 years ago too. So
I guess I feel like this was not the sacred cow had already been slaughtered with Home Alones 3 and 4. So I guess I don't really understand the vitriol. That said, whatever. It seems like they're trying to do Home Alone again. Why does this not work and Scream 5 does? Any thoughts there?
I don't think you can because you can't do too much with it. You can't get too clever with it. One of the few things that made me chuckle in it, I can't remember the exact line, but he has one little line about that didn't look good. That was their self-aware nod that everyone makes about how much that Kevin McAllister would have like grievously injured these guys in the first movie. So there's that one little meta thing of when one of his things works, but then he's like, oh, that looks like I might have really hurt that person. Yeah. But you can't do too much of that or you don't have a Home Alone movie, because he has to be able to hurt the adults. So yeah, it's just difficult, but I'm with you, Spencer. It's like, to me, it's like, yeah, there's already been so many crappy sequels, I guess, that are so under the radar. Some people don't even know they exist. But you can't, like, at this point, this is not going to ruin the sanctity of Home Alone. It's okay, guys. Like, the first one you can still watch and enjoy, and here's a different one.
Kim, why is this so British?
I don't know. It's bizarre.
It's weird, right? I didn't know if there was like
that's their twist, guys.
Something I'm missing, but like, Joe Pesci and it's Chris Columbus, but is John Hughes? Did he have something to do with the?
He wrote it.
Yeah, he wrote it, right? So there you go. Like it's kind of a apple pie, good old American Chicago, or rich white suburbs of Chicago movie. And why is this now taking place in the UK? I'm not sure. What was your general reaction though, Kim?
I just pretended that wasn't happening, that was not there. So I have not considered that at all. But the reason, I mean, this does horrify me, and it looks terrible. And I like all these actors that they've cast. But the thing about the original Home Alone is it's this perfect blend of elements, including the casting and the performances and the comedy and everything. And it's really hard to recapture that. And this is billed as is it a reboot or a remake? What are they billing it as? Probably.
Well, there's a McAllister name.
Yeah,
badge,
so they're doing that little like. This reminds me of something that once happened to my brother. They're gonna do that probably little gentle nod.
Yeah.
Now everybody wants to do the one where they're all grown up and it's like the wet bandits have like dementia and they're trying to track down like a grizzled Kevin McAllister. That also sounds bad. I think the answer is to just like, we should be able to retire certain franchises. I think the people of the world should be able to take a vote and it's like, you're retired. I'm sorry. There will be no more Home Alones. We're freezing it in carbonite. We're preserving it in amber. That we'll put Ghostbusters in there. There's just certain things that like no idea is going to be good based on this. We should just stop doing things sometimes.
It's funny. I'm looking at the writers, and it's actually Mikey Day and Streeter Seidel, from both SNL guys. Obviously, here's what I bet is. You have to do the job they hire you for. So there'll be a couple of funny lines in there that they kind of got through for the adults, but otherwise they have to deliver the bread and butter of Home Alone. But yeah, it's like this is one of the first major titles that Disney has exploited from the 20th Century Fox library, now that they own it all. And it is funny that they're like, let's do another Home Alone. Let's put it on Disney Plus.
Right. Yeah. Now, something to keep in mind, this movie is for children. And the people getting mad at this, I imagine, are not 8-year-olds who are allowed to be on dad's computer right now. I think that this is mostly people who were of a certain age. And was Home Alone 92, 94?
90, I thought.
90. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes. There you go. Which seems to be the danger zone for remakes. If you remake anything from 85 to 90, that's you're on thin ice. That's a very online audience. So look, we'll see as this develops. But
and for the record, I don't think it actually takes place in the UK. I think there's just an insinuation of a mixed UK American family. But as someone is saying in the chat too, I don't think we have it confirmed that the home itself is actually in the UK.
Okay.
Is that
interesting?
So,
because I think Buzz being there means that this is a family American that has moved.
I think it means he's moved to England, because that house, definitely, I've seen it down the street. So all wrong, man.
So Pete Holmes is married British in this one. That's all we know, is that Holmes went British.
Yeah. And there's no poinsettias in the house. And small detail, but come on. That house was chock full of them. Watch on this trailer. All right. On to the most important news of the day. I'm not talking about the theatrical stage employees going on strike, which we will talk about briefly. I'm talking about Adam Warlock's been cast, people. Oh my gosh. The James Gunn did confirm on Twitter the casting of, his name is Will Poulter. You may remember him from the bear movie, The Revenant, and Maze Runner. I will forever know him as Eyebrows Kid, but someday I will learn his name, which is Will Poulter. Are we stoked that he is going to be Adam Warlock, or that we will see an on-screen Adam Warlock? Previously, he was in like a big golden coffin in Guardians 2, right? Mm-hmm. And when you crack it open, that's the face you're getting.
That's the sweet, delicious treat inside.
Yeah. How do you two feel about A, the casting, and B, the character, and don't care either way is a perfectly acceptable answer?
Look, Adam Warlock, I would say lifelong Marvel fan. I'm not a giant Adam Warlock stan. He's fine. He's actually kind of been, to me, a little bland in the comics, but that's where I think James Gunn will make him not bland, and he'll make him everyone's favorite character, and he'll say witty things, and we're all going to love him. And I do like Will Poulter as an actor, and it is interesting that he's an offbeat choice, but he was supposed to be Pennywise in It when Cary Fukunaga was doing It. So he came very close to having a big franchise with toys, and it didn't happen. So now he's going to get his big franchise with toys. And also, I saw some people on Twitter that were like, he better buff up. I'm like, have you seen what happens to an actor when they get cast in a Marvel? They'll handle it. Don't worry. That part they seem to be able to do. So I'm not incredibly psyched because I'm not Adam Warlock. I'm glad we're going to get an answer on the cliffhanger that's going to take years because of the whole James Gunn being fired and rehired of it all. And I like the actor, and so sure, why not? Yes.
Yeah. Kim, your thoughts?
Yes. I would love to see his audition, because I read that it was amazing and he beat out a bunch of other probably amazing actors. So I'm really intrigued to know who he beat. But having said that, I love this casting. It's outside the box, as Eric said. It's bold, stepping away from the usual suspects. It makes me really interested, and I love Will Poulter. I've loved him since his movie debut in Son of Rambo, where he got to show, he was a kid, but got to show some comedy chops and some acting skills beyond his years, and he's had a really kind of diverse career since then. But it's going to be, I presume that there'll be some comedy for him to get his teeth into in this, because it's James Gunn and Guardians.
I don't think that.
Yeah. Or
I don't think they can. Guardians can't afford another funny person. there are not enough serious people for them to goof on. If everybody's just firing quips off in every direction, it'll just
I think he'll be like the Vision. There's a lot of similarities anyway with those characters as far as new to the world, and the comedy will come from sort of the reaction.
Exactly. You've got to react to the comedy, even if he's not delivering the funny lines. So that'll be cool to see. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, the MCU is getting ever more cosmic, so we'll need a bunch of people to play different ultra powerful beings. So yeah, I'm psyched in the sense that I trust Guardians 3 will be really good. And I'm sure they're gonna make good casting choices around that serve the movie. But let's talk about some real news. We have we talked about this briefly the other week, but we have a official authorization of a strike unless an agreement is reached. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, that is 60,000 people strong. They will start the strike on October 18th. That is on Monday, should an agreement not be reached. That would halt production of everything in the US, and they will continue working on it until then, but keep you posted, because if that actually goes into effect, that has a ripple effect on down through every single movie and television thing you love and that we talk about on this show. So definitely important to stay posted. The union is looking for a 10-hour turnaround, at least a 10-hour turnaround between shifts for all workers, which seems reasonable. You want to spend at least some of that sleeping and eating and showering, and then a 54-hour turnaround on weekends, give you some semblance of a weekend, which doesn't seem like too much to ask, but who am I? I'm not running Hollywood. They're seeking also increased meal penalties as a way to force productions to stop for lunch.
Let us eat.
Let us eat. This is really, come on, people. Let them eat and sleep once in a while. It's not like they're asking for too much. That's obscene. But we will keep you guys posted. There's so far, all we know is that the strike does begin on Monday, should they not reach an agreement before then.
It'll be interesting if this happens, just because COVID last year already kind of gave us a very recent delay. And, we talked about how there was ripple effects as far as Netflix was notably didn't have a lot of high profile shows early this year because they kind of ran out of the big stuff. So it'll be interesting if they have to deal with another round of that, because all these major streamers have a lot banked, so it's not like it will suddenly all stop, but then you'll kind of have those weird times where it's like, why are we not getting, we're kind of getting all the C tier stuff, for a while.
Tough, just like the supply chain is clogged. Now we need our supply chain of content to run smoothly as well, so that means pay and feed the people who do the work. It's that simple, people. Should we talk about that 90s show?
Sure.
That's a thing. That's how it's definitely reboot day on SJU. Everything old is new again. Didn't they already try that 80s show? And isn't one of them like in prison?
They did that 80s show.
Both of those are true. Yes.
Yeah, both of those are true facts.
Yes.
That 80s show, I don't think had any story connections, same producers, but it did not have any. This one is doing the Legacy sequel because they love the Legacy sequel in Hollywood. So it's actually about like what Eric and Donna's kid, like the main character is their daughter. And then Eric's parents are back. So I don't know. It's funny to me that everything's a Legacy sequel. Like, I don't know if anyone will remember the 80s sitcom Head of the Class, but they're doing a new version and I hadn't thought anything about it. And then I read, Robin Givens will return as her character from the original. I'm like, you know what? You don't need like the new Turner and Hooch is a Legacy sequel where it's like he's Tom Hanks. You don't need to make them all connected to the things from the 80s, guys. It's okay sometimes.
Another dog partner for another child of Tom Hanks. That's amazing.
Sometimes you can just remake it from the ground up.
Yeah,
so, I love Cobra Kai too, but yeah.
Wow. Kim, do you have any fond memories of that 70s show or the decade of the 90s?
Well, this is the thing, you see, because I don't remember the 70s, and when Happy Days was around, I don't remember the 50s, but I do remember the 90s quite clearly, and there aren't that many comedies that spring to mind that are set in the 90s and riff on that, whereas with the 80s that is sent up constantly. So with that in mind, I am looking forward to that 90s show. All
right. Well, don't. I don't think you should. That 70s show, it was fine. It was an above average, but not great sitcom. And what's that one on Hulu that's super good? That with the two girls pretending to be teenagers in the 90s.
I know there's a number in the title.
Pen 15. Just watch Pen 15.
Yeah, and I think they're like right at like 2000, 2001. So it's kind of this little perfect like post 90s, like a a little bit more specific.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is like 99.
It is.
Okay.
Pen
I'll
15
watch
all
that.
day.
I'll link this.
Check that out instead. All right. Let's get on to fan questions and comments because we're done with news. Let's see. James Bunt asks, he's thinking of Stab, which is the movie from Scream. What movie within a movie would you like to see an actual movie of? Ooh, that's a great question. Isn't there didn't someone make like a fake Netflix that's just for like movies?
Yes,
within movies?
it's
What
really
is that
funny. I forget what it's called, but it's awesome. It has like listings for every fictional movie you can think of.
Nestflix, it's called.
Have they made trailers for them?
No, it's like they'll include links if there was like a fake trailer, like if in what's it called? Why am I forgetting the Ben Stiller Robert Downey Jr. movie title?
Tropic Thunder.
All the trailers from Tropic Thunder and stuff like that. Yeah, have listings there.
Yeah. Oh God, what's the one with I think it's from Jay and Silent Bob, like Good Will Hunting 2. What's that one?
Hunting Season.
Hunting Season. Yeah. I think that would be my pick.
Given that we were talking about Home Alone, Angels with Filthy Souls, I suppose, would be an obvious pick.
Yeah.
And its sequel, Angels with Even Filthier Souls.
We did get Machete, but I remember there was talk of doing Thanksgiving as well from Grindhouse. And I don't think you should touch Don't, which is amazing as a trailer, but doesn't need to be any. The joke of the Don't trailer is it seems to be like 30 movies in one.
Right.
So don't do Don't, but I'd be down for Thanksgiving to actually have a Thanksgiving slasher movie.
Yeah. And most of the 30 Rock parodies, like we don't need to see the whole rural juror, but a trailer, an extended trailer would be good. But yes, go on nestflix.fun, and somebody has done the work of putting every fake movie and TV show a real looking preview page, which is pretty incredible. Thank you, internet.
Yes.
Okay. Evan J. Pretzer asked, what franchise or genre hasn't gotten the meta treatment like Scream, but would be interesting? Anything else like it needs a self-aware version of itself?
Well, it's hard because we got all those terrible ones, you know, the date movie and disaster movie and all those.
Yeah.
I don't know if you even count those though, since they were so lazy. I don't think there's been a good musical one because you actually have to put in a lot of work. There's been musical comedies, but I don't know if there's been a satirical as much for that. So that could be one. Certainly recent Evan Hansen and Cats. There's been some recent things to give you some material there if you want to go down that road.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I wonder if it could be done of like the prestige the self-aware prestige Netflix series. I don't know if you did like Ozark, but like it knew that it was, you know, 2 episodes too long and just baiting you at the end of every episode. And like, I don't know. I think there's something there. These are starting to kind of feel samey to me. So that tells you that there's maybe room for parody, but yeah, I can't think of everything else has gotten like teen movies, horror movies, rom-coms. They've all gotten great self-aware versions of them. Yeah. So not too much left. I have a question for Kim, or Ben Zaitan has a question for Kim. Do you like the current Taskmaster cast? I especially like VCM and Morgana. They're a riot.
Right, you mean Taskmaster, the quiz show, I guess, which I don't watch.
Was this person like just being like assuming that because of where you're from, you watch this show?
Yeah, although my friend loves it and she keeps saying to me, Kim, you need to watch it or you'll love it. And I said, you know, I'm miserable. I hate comedy. Don't make me watch it.
I'm now looking up the info on it. Well, it's been they've done a lot of this. All right.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I just assumed you've seen everything British.
Exactly. But I love that he says that they're a riot, and you know, I'll check it out. Thanks.
All right.
For the tip. You and my friend.
Reynard City Update Channel asks, and this brings up a personal question of mine. Would you rather own Wonka's Chocolate Factory, a time machine, or the Infinity Gauntlet? And I will pivot this by saying we forgot to talk about Timothée Chalamet.
I didn't forget. That was a choice. But feel free to bring it up.
Yeah, posting the Wonka pic of Blue Steel Wonka. What do you guys think of this sexy new dark Wonka looking you in the eye?
I mean, I never wanted this film. Go away.
Yeah, this has a big uphill battle. Like, you know, I'd love to be pleasantly surprised. But this feels like a self-parody, you know, the origin story of Willy Wonka, played by a sexy modern heartthrob. No one needs this. So he's a good actor.
There he is.
But doesn't need to be doing this. Yeah.
I will say that this is like a behind the scenes shot. This isn't a scene from the film of him looking like he's about to get in your snozberries. But this is he's still, you don't need like a sexy cheekboned Wonka like this. Like it's just, again, it's getting retired. It's being put into retirement along with Home Alone and along with the Ghostbusters. We're gonna put a Mount Rushmore together of franchises. We just have to stop.
We might have to make this an episode and do votes and officially retire like one franchise a week or something like that. Yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah.
They can all go live together in a home, and then we could do a reboot of that sitcom.
Perfect.
But yeah, I guess the fan actually had a question. Wonka's Chocolate Factory, Time Machine, the Infinity Gauntlet. Well, the Infinity Gauntlet, you can say, of course.
Assuming the gauntlet has the stones in them. Yeah. If it's just the gauntlet,
right? Well, that's a big thing. Yeah, if you have to go get them. Yeah,
like if it has the stones, you can make a chocolate factory and you can travel through time. So.
But the amount of power that it would suck out of me, I know like bringing everyone back on Earth would kill me. But like, would I have to nap for a couple days if I made a chocolate factory appear, or would I be fine?
What if it was you get the gauntlet and one stone of your choice locked in already to go, but you have to use that stone to go get the other stones. Because otherwise the gauntlet, you just make the other two options.
I get the reality stone and I just make I don't need anything. That's fine.
That's true. Good point.
I wouldn't want either of those. I wouldn't want the responsibility. I'd probably mess everything up with the time machine or the gauntlet. So I'm just going to go for the chocolate factory, and I'll be happy with my chocolate river and my big gobstoppers.
Oh man, you're going to get so shut down by health code violations immediately. All right. Final question. Let's see. This one is, I'll give you a sneaky preview for this week's Honest Trailer. And Jim 1 asks, is there a Bond movie you think is underrated? For Your Eyes Only has some of the best action scenes. The series seems to be a forgotten Roger Moore installment. I don't know how big Bond fans you are, but I've just been watching a lot of Bond recently for perhaps an Honest Trailer. Anything that you think doesn't get its due in the Bond franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's changing now, especially with No Time to Die and Black Widow referencing it, but on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh, you took mine, yeah.
Oh, it's always been my favorite Bond
hasn't
movie.
Be? Yeah, it's super good.
And he's my favorite Bond, and so so that one, as I say, I think is changing, but.
There you go, Kim. I'm right there with you. I'm a huge fan of that one. I think it's underrated. Christopher Nolan is a huge fan of that one. Puts us in good company. Eric, do you think there's any underrated Bonds out there?
I mean, I agree. I mean, by the way, I think On Her Majesty's Secret Service is probably my favorite one. But yeah, I do think it's kind of that tide has turned. It's like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, where people have gone back and been like, actually, that was pretty great. So having rewatched, I just rewatched View to a Kill through No Time to Die. And the two that stood out to me as like better than I remembered were License to Kill, which is not great, but there are things about it I like. Like if they did it now, I think that it would be great because they kind of really go through with what they're doing, which is a, off the books Bond gone rogue idea. And then the interesting one to me was World Is Not Enough, which has such a bad.
Oh, I haven't seen that in a long time. Yeah,
such a bad Bond girl, but take her.
Is that Dr. Christmas Jones?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Not the greatest performance, but
the best, the most grown / brilliant Bond one-liner.
Right.
I was way too young to know what that meant at the time when he said it, but everyone in the theater, I remember going, "Oh,
yeah."
You know the line I'm talking about.
But it's funny because Brosnan, who I thought was great as Bond, only had one great movie, GoldenEye, which I think most people feel that way. But World's Not Enough is probably my second favorite. Again, it's a big drop. But there are elements of it I really like. I like what they do with M in that movie. There's like more good in that movie than I remembered, even though you have to kind of. So I still say it's underrated to an extent, even though I'm not like, it's fantastic. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is fantastic.
Sweet. I can tell you what's overrated that I watched recently is Thunderball. Man, that is so much time spent underwater. It's just not as exciting as they think it is. It's just a lot of scuba. Too much scuba is my one-line review of Thunderball. And that's probably your one-line review of today's episode. Sorry, we'll spend more time on dry land next week on SJU. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Before we leave, we should let people know if they haven't watched it yet. Spencer has a video essay on the evolution of Bond.
Yes, right here on this channel.
Yeah, we released it a little late yesterday. Whose fault is that? We could never know.
Who's to say? Yeah.
Who's to say who got it up late? But it's up there.
Much like No Time to Die, very often delayed videos. But this is the whole history of Bond from Connery to Craig and how he's grown and changed or not as a character and as a franchise. So check that out. And more Bond to come, I promise you. And we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for hanging out. Bye-bye.